The internet is very judgmental lately. They're judging everybody. Everybody's judging everybody for everything, getting irritated at people for doing this, for doing that, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's allowed their opinion, their own opinion, having an opinion and speaking on it. It's very important. You should very much have your own opinion and be, stand by it. But judgment and opinion are completely different. And when it gets to the point where you start judging somebody and then you can tell from reading your comments on the internet that your frustration is coming out, that means it's like impacting your life in some sort of way. You might not even realize that it's happening, but it most certainly is. And it's more than likely not in a positive fashion, it's in a negative fashion. And there are things that there are negative effects going on inside your body that you might not be aware of or even really want happening. What's up, dreamers? Welcome to Driving and Vibing. Today I want to talk about people being judgmental. Let's just start out by saying, again, you are allowed to have your own opinions. Everybody should be opinionated. Everybody should have their own opinions, should stay strong behind it. They should, whatever, okay? And let me go into an example, okay? So I have opinions, but I'm not very judgmental. I just saw this person get roasted for signing, I don't exactly know how it works, but signing with this big creator or whatever you want to call a person in the space on the interwebs here. A big creator, gamer, signed with a betting website. I don't really even know what it is, but it's gambling, okay? I don't necessarily condone gambling. I don't really care for it. If people gamble, that's on them. Do I think gambling is something that's highly addictive and could very easily ruin somebody's life? Yes, of course. But at the same time, could people do these like gamble on games here and there or whatever people do and not be addicted? Absolutely. Like that happens, okay? And what other people do is their business. What other people sponsors they get, what deals they get, it's really their business. If they're making a lot of money doing it, good for them. Like everybody's goal is to make money, right? But at some point, people take their opinion. So like I would never do that. And like I'm a health and wellness advocate. I think the negative effects of gambling are too high. They don't outweigh the pros. The pros do not outweigh the cons when it comes to gambling. That's my personal opinion, and I'm keeping it an opinion. I don't judge people who open up CS2 cases all day. I think it's cool. I wish I could do that to an extent, but I don't really even have any desire to do that. Like I would want to open up a couple of cases. I did open up a bunch of cases, but I also still have a couple of cases. So it's like, I know I'm one of those people who I could, open up some cases here and there and then not get addicted to it. I don't care what other people do. Some people on the internet, they let it affect them to the point where you could tell they're getting frustrated. These keyboard warriors are slamming their heads against the keyboard, typing out these awful messages, sending hate mail through the internet to people. And it's like, I don't think you understand that when you get yourself that worked up over something that doesn't even directly impact you on any level whatsoever, you are raising your cortisol as well as other hormonal effects. Now, disclaimer, I'm not a biologist, I'm not a doctor. I just study a lot of health and wellness stuff, okay? And I'm a personal trainer and a wellness coach. So I understand some of this, right? But I do know that your hormones are gonna start to go apeshit basically, because now you're getting yourself frustrated, you're getting your panties in a bunch. Your body has nothing to do but put itself in a fight or flight mode when you start judging somebody for something they're doing that's not even really affecting your life, right? It's just like something we should do is practice opinions without being so judgmental. Now, if somebody did that and it had a serious impact on something you've supported for many, many years or whatever and I know you support creators and stuff, I get that part. But if it has an impact, I'm going to bring this closer, sorry. If it has an impact to the point where it affects your life, that's when you can start getting into the judgmental zone. But realistically speaking, we all need to work on keeping judgment and opinion separated, because it's quite quite a dangerous territory when you start mixing the two or when you start crossing the line. So I think it's very important. Like, listen, when it comes to, we're going to keep going on the gambling thing. If you were offered an incredibly, sorry, there's my mouth. If you were offered an incredibly large sum of money to be sponsored by a gambling website, I don't really care who you are, you're probably not going to say no to it. Unless you're like me, where I'm building a foundation of health and wellness. And I truly believe, this is my opinion. My opinion is that gambling has no place in the health and wellness space. That's like, it's a separate entity. It's not for me. If you're strictly a content creator, so take that with a grain of salt. If you're strictly a content creator, if you don't have any ties in the industry where gambling really isn't even a thought, doesn't really matter, or it doesn't matter, like, basically, unless you're in health and wellness, I feel like, and I'm sure there are creators who are health and wellness creators who are sponsored by gambling. I just personally don't want to do it, but it's like, you probably wouldn't turn down that money, right? Like, I mean, I would, but unless it was like trillions of dollars, like a number that is so large, I'm just kidding, I would say no. It just doesn't stand. It just doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't go by my, what do you want to say it? Like my goals of my brand and company. So, but think about it. You probably wouldn't say no. So, judgment is dangerous. Opinions are safe. I rambled on too long about this. Not that anybody listening. Hit that like button. Helps the channel. Hit that subscribe button for more content like this. And I hope to see you in the next video. Later, dreamers.